All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Call for the Creators. It's 11 o'clock on Eastern on a Wednesday, which means I bring in somebody cool like Meg Loeks. We're going to get into who this human being is in a minute. This is not a green screen. This is 42 West 18th Street, Adorama here in New York, where Meg Loeks will also be doing a live demo on the Adorama Events channel later today at 5 p.m. Eastern. But first, you know what I got to do. You know I got to do the things. I got to do the take this away. Then I got to do the sponsor because Sigma wanted to support this one. Why? Because Meg Loeks is a Sigma ambassador. Plus, they're awesome. If you have not tried any Sigma glass out, what are you doing? You've got pretty much every mount covered. Maybe not every lens for every mount. We're not going to get into that, but L mount definitely covered. You saw me in Japan with the 300 to 600 millimeter f4, bananas. The 200 millimeter f2, insane. Their art series lenses are legendary. Check out the links down below. Check out endless videos of endless examples from their lenses. And also, it is a legit family-owned business. We're talking about not a third-party lens company, but a premium lens company. They own the entire process from like the minerals out of a volcano in Tokyo to actually Aizu, Japan, and all the way through. And I got to tour the factory. You can check out our 300 to 600 millimeter video on this channel where we got to go through exactly how they make those lenses. And I can't tell you how many hands touch every lens. It's really incredible. So, okay, I hope Sigma's got to like that one, right? And I want to give a huge thank you to Tenba because they wanted to support this. You, Meg, get a custom-made
Awesome.
Tenba bag right there with the Coffee with Creators metal badge on it.
Very cool. Thank you.
Tenba is another legacy company. They are probably the most prolific bag company out there. Since 1977, a photographer in New York started it, and they've been going ever since. Everything from bags, backpacks, roller cases. They did the famous doctor bags. They got their new carry-on, the Roadie with the 4 wheels. A lot easier to get to that airport. Check out the link down below for everything from Tenba. And finally, Gotham Roasters for hooking us up. Cheers, kid.
Yep.
What'd you get?
Thank you. Just a latte.
Just a latte. See that? Just like,
Simple.
just a
Simple.
latte. Oh my God. Guys, let me know if we're live because this chat room is the most standstill I've ever seen. I'm getting weird messages all over YouTube right now. Like literally 5 seconds before we're going live. Gotham Roasters. 1 block up, neighborhood, right? Owned by a photographer and a filmmaker. You're supporting the game. And you go there, get your coffee, say Adorama sent you, then you come take a seat and you come hang out with Meg at 5 o'clock later today. All right, that's that. Who is Meg? Boom. Meg Loeks. I feel like, first of all, I've been saying her name wrong for like a billion years. Meg Loeks is a Sigma ambassador, a Profoto ambassador, but she's also a great photographer that does a lot of cinematic scenes, but they're very, very, very curated. I mean, you can tell she had an initial thought and she went all the way to the end to evolve it into a final product, but it's prolific, meaning the color theory always matches. The feel of it matches something she shot years ago. Somehow it's new, but it's still tied into something, like it's timeless, but it's also modern. It's pretty wild. To me, it's Americana. To me, it's very Rockwell feeling to it, and it's more of like a rural type of vibe to it rather than my trash rat from Brooklyn's Live. Also, you were involved with a project where you offer portraits to families facing pediatric cancer, which is insane. It's also very nice of you to do, obviously, but that is... I can't believe how you are never sitting still. You've got an army of children. You're like, what can I do with this army of children? All this cool photo gear. I know, I'll just do really cool work. And you always do classes when I see you about cinematic.
Yeah.
And to me, your images don't, so we both shoot a cinematic style. Mm-hmm. Mine is definitely more like Fight Club, Aronofsky, Kubrick. And then yours is like, It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
So it's just really interesting to feel the other side of the narrative. But everybody, welcome Meg Loeks.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's, I don't know, my work has transitioned over time, but I feel like one thing that stayed true the entire time has been that I've focused heavily on life at home. We do live in a remote area. So I'm photographing my kids, but as they get older, I'm photographing them less and I'm photographing myself more and doing a lot more self-portraiture, which, has been like really therapeutic for me. I love to be with my camera. I love to spend time with my camera. It is like self-care to me.
Oh.
So, but yeah, I mean, it comes with the territory where we live, being in a remote area. I do photograph scenes outside a lot. I love to be outside. We hike as a family. We go to the beach because we live right near Lake Superior, which is amazing and beautiful. But at the same time, there's a flip side too of like I've really been over the past couple years like focusing heavily on more of my indoor portraiture, setting up lots of lights, layering my lights, doing more of like a cinematic feel, as you kind of mentioned. Um, and including a lot of the environment too, you know, within my portraiture. So yeah.
So where does it start for you with the concept? Do you see a place and go, this would be happen here? Because I see a lot of stuff happening. When you do the indoor stuff, I feel like you start with yourself there, then you build out. But when you're outside, you kind of, are you looking for more of like a blank palette to work with? Like what's that? Like something that's not going to overtake the image itself that you can work with? Like where does it start for you?
So most of the time, it actually starts with like something that I've observed, something that I've seen within like what my family's doing or you know, outside or around my home. Like this is a perfect example. My son, who's my youngest son, who's 4 years old, he hates go to bed and fights it every night. Like fights it. And recently, what he's been doing is right before he goes to bed, we tell him it's time to go to bed. He crawls underneath the chair and hides underneath the chair. His feet stick out. We can obviously see him, and we're trying to get him out from under the chair to go to bed. And like that's a portrait right there. That in itself, like I could like create something centered around that with me and like holding some pajamas, trying to get him to bed. So a lot of those ideas start there with like those kind of moments, but they also do start from other places too. Like you mentioned Rockwell. I love Norman Rockwell. He's been a huge inspiration of mine.
Shocking.
Yeah. Forever. Like I started a photo series pulling inspiration from his work like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And I've recreated a lot of his work. But the cool thing is over time, it's become like I've transitioned it. Some of the pieces that I've created were really similar to the paintings that he's done. And then some of them are not at all. Like I pulled just a little bit of inspiration from it. Maybe it was like the composition or the concept or like the color theory, and then altered everything else to kind of fit my life.
So do you think some of your images are almost like, you missed a moment, let me recreate the moment, and then let me curate the moment to like a fantasy level? Because as much as it's a real thing, and there's no like crazy fantasy about it imaging wise, there is a fantasy element to it. It's a little Disney. It's a little like, you know, you put the heavy heart in there kind of feel. So is it chasing the memory you didn't get a chance to shoot? Is that, or is it like something you see repetitive and you're like, let me immortalize it forever?
Yeah, it's for me that second part where it's like, let's escalate that a little bit more. Like part of like the joy of photography for me is not just coming up with a concept, but it's all encompassing from styling, setting up the scene, the lighting, and the editing, all of it. The shooting part is real quick for me. It's often like 5 minutes, but everything else can take hours. And that is a huge part of what brings me joy, what I love to do.
I think that's why people gravitate to your work so much, because, and this isn't to like take away from it, but it feels accessible. So like I could see someone going like, it's got that Cindy Sherman, let me photograph myself kind of thing, right? Now let me make the scene kind of a thing. And like with these, when I saw you put these out, I was like, yes, someone could go and find an era or a generation that they're not a part of, and then go to a thrift shop, find a bunch of stuff. Like you got all these Gen Alpha kids out here trying to pretend like they're in the 90s, right? And that's literally what we're looking at here, right? Yeah. So I feel like people can, it's not like they aspire to it. They can literally go do it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the 90s. I was born in the mid 80s. So, you know, my entire adolescence was spent in the 90s. And I have a lot of this stuff that you're seeing in the portraits is stuff that I kept randomly and forgot about. And my husband dug up and I went through and I was like, this is perfect, you know, but these are all like nostalgic memories. And that's another thing that my work is really centered around is nostalgia. So that is the heart of my work.
These are worth some money, these Disney VHS.
I know. My mom had some and she just got rid of them. And I'm like, what are you doing?
It's always the mom story, right? Like, I had X-Men #1, but my mom threw it out. I could have been a millionaire, you know? But those are for real. Like Disney holds them in a vault. Like you can't even buy them. Now they're not even on VHS anymore anyway.
They're worth a lot of money. Yeah, I think she sold them for a lot of money, actually.
I still remember the sound of that clamshell box. Like, it has like this like stressful, like, don't open me kind of thing.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. What was one of your favorite Disneys of all time? Because I feel like you're probably tapped into it pretty hard.
Sleeping Beauty. I love Sleeping Beauty.
I could see that.
And actually, a few years ago, my husband bought like, well, it would have been more than a few years because I don't even think DVDs are a thing anymore. But when they were a thing, my husband bought me that for Christmas. It was like a Christmas gift. But I love Sleeping Beauty. What about you?
From Disney.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even know if it's a Disney film. Land Before Time was a big one for me.
Yeah, we made our kids watch that recently, but then I forgot how like
Dark it is.
yeah, it just like breaks your heart. Like,
Well, I think
awful.
that's why we have nostalgia for it. Like it's probably the first time as a child you're feeling actual emotions. You're like, oh, Bambi and death, like let's go, right? Or I mean, I remember Little Mermaid when I was a little kid. I remember realizing like, no, this is about acceptance. Like I'm like too young to know this concept. Why am I tuned into this?
Yeah, yeah.
What are you trying to expose your kids to, like your nostalgia, hoping they build their own?
A little bit of that, yeah. I mean, there's movies that I grew up with that, like I absolutely love, like Sandlot was one of them.
Yes.
Okay.
You're killing me,
it's a great one.
Smalls.
Yeah. Yeah. But also
like
sometimes
an airplane
mistakes
movie.
are made. Like, so Ace Ventura, like,
Oh,
like,
geez.
oh, that's safe.
Nope.
But it's not at
No.
all. We were like 10 minutes in. I'm like, okay, we can't finish watching this one. Because I mean, my youngest is 4. But yeah, I do love seeing them enjoying the things that I enjoyed as a kid. And I grew up like spending a lot of time outside with my dad. My dad is actually the person who I feel like got me into photography more than anyone, because he used to just go out with his camera and photograph landscapes, and I would go on hikes with him, and that's what we would do. So
Did he hand one down to you? Did he give you your first cameras or one of those stories?
no, actually it was a friend of the family that gifted me a film camera when I was in middle school, and that's what started it all. So I started with film. And I used to develop my own prints. In high school, we had like a lab and a dark room, and I loved that part of the process. That was like my favorite part of photography, was developing prints, and I miss it. I do miss that.
See, but don't you think, like, I know a lot of your work rests on the post processing, but like, don't you think if you're doing a 90s theme, shoot it on a 90s camera with film?
I still have.
You should totally do it.
I still have my original film camera. So
You should totally do it.
I know. I think that needs to happen.
It would be a cool diptych too, because you could put like your new school Meg style and then the film shot of the same narrative next to each other. I think that'd be sick.
Yeah, I think that
Get started.
That's my next one when I get home.
I need it on my desk by 3, kids. Oh my gosh. If you guys have any questions, that's why we're live. What's going on, Kathy? I hope you're well. Rick, Christy, how are you? So I got to ask you, because I think as long as I've seen your work, I'm always wondering, like, when is she going to get tired of doing this? But like, I think you chase your kids as they age. And so it changes for you, whether you want, like it evolves for you, whether you want it to or not. But then you have like one kid ages, but then the next one's coming up and you kind of go back to where you started again.
Yep.
So like, is it a constant like start over for you with the kids?
It is. Yeah. But it's interesting because, I do sometimes think about my future. I'm a Capricorn. So like, I don't know if you know anything about astrology, but we're always like goal setting. We're always thinking about our future. And like, I'm like, what am I going to, do as my kids get older, which they're getting older. Like, am I going to keep photographing them or am I going to shift into something different? And I feel like my work has been shifting, where I've been photographing myself more over the years and them less, because it's just a natural transition. Right. But, yeah, they're pretty spread out. The youngest is 4 and the oldest is 14. So I feel like too, it's really important to try to get my teen in front of the camera when I can. I really do enjoy photographing him, and he likes to, be photographed. He doesn't mind that at all. I think because I don't photograph him often either, maybe, but I think teens get a bad rap too for, just working with them and being in front of the camera. And I don't know. I feel the complete opposite with him. I think it all centers around when I'm photographing any single one of my kids, having them, photographing them doing something basically that they love to do, that they really enjoy. And my oldest, he's into science, he's into space. So when I do photographs, like portraits centered around him, I keep that in mind,
Yeah, I feel like your kids from day one are around someone doing a process. So they're learning, like, it's not instant. Your patience, thoughtful, intent. I mean, that's a hard thing to get over the goal line for kids. And you start them from like day one, like, nope, nope, nope. This is how I do things. You're going to go right here. And do they question what you're looking for sometimes? Like, this doesn't feel right. Why am I like this? But the pose is what you want.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends. So like, and I work with my kids differently depending on their age. So like my older kids, if I get photograph them maybe once a month, that's great. Like, but it is like every couple months, maybe I get them in front of the camera. And for them, I show them maybe the idea, like what I want to do. And it's communicating with them.
They're your art director then.
Yeah. Well, and they usually collaborate with me, and it's a sign of respect too. I think, like, this is what I'm hoping to do. This is like my thought process, and it's super quick, the shooting process too, with all of my kids, because it has to be like, I know I'm creating these like scenes that are really styled, and thought out, but when they come into the scene, we're talking like a few minutes and then they're done.
Oh, I'm sure. So you treat them like a celebrity, basically. Like, we got to get everything down. I only got 2 minutes with them. Let's go.
Exactly it. Now, my youngest, I like rarely photograph him because he is really hard to photograph. He's crazy. He's wild. He's 4, and he doesn't sit still, So that's another thing. So when I am photographing him, I keep him moving. And like I did a photograph recently with him on like a rocking horse, and he loved that. Like, he was able to like bounce around. He kept moving. I think it was a couple weeks ago that I did that one, maybe even longer. But right there, yeah. So he loved that. Again, it was centered around something that works for him, with just being able to keep him moving. But that's what I always keep in mind when I'm especially photographing him.
It's also really interesting because a lot of people that shoot kids, they go shallow depth of field as razor thin as they can to like you're like, nope, everything from the foreground to the last thing in the background has to be decently in focus.
Yeah. Yeah. It was probably like F10 there, my aperture. But, the thing is too, is it's all kind of, for me, like centered around light too. Like, I'm going to highlight him, highlight the things that are really important, try to darken that background.
There's a balance.
Yeah. So I don't really care too much about having a wide open aperture then. I want everything in focus, to be honest, or at least mostly in focus, because I want all those details to shine.
Well, you put it all in the frame for a reason. Why would you murk it out, right?
Right.
I think people just go like, but I bought this super expensive lens. Let me make it all crazy. Do you think, I probably know the answer to this. Do you think your kids bond to you in a different way? Because I feel like they're inside their mom's head from day one. Like, no, I'm seeing this. I'm thinking this. If your kid is 4 years old and has seen you working with them and then show them a final result, they are literally in your head, like seeing how you think. You're giving them a result.
Yeah, that is like my favorite thing about them growing up, is being able to show them, because when they're really little, you don't get a reaction. They don't understand. But when they get older and they're able to see that like end result, that's my favorite part. And it's funny because I'll have some kids, actually all of them, that will do this, but they'll like give me their feedback and like tell me what they don't like.
That must be a lot of fun.
I don't know about that. I don't like that, or I don't like this, or maybe you should, like change this. And I have one kid too that's also like interested. He's like expressing like interest in editing and we're doing something along those lines. And he's my artistic one. So I don't know. I find that kind of.
So I'm sure as they get older, it gets more collaborative.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of be cool. That's another evolution of it, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yep.
RC in the chat's asking, you mentioned you still have your 35 millimeter. Which one is that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I love the Sigma Art 35 1.2. So the
Another 35 millimeter camera. Like, which film camera do you still have?
Oh, Pentax.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And then they also asked, how long does it take you to create a project or a scene?
Oh, that's a good question. So it depends on the shot, and it depends on like the environment and all of that. Like, how much environment am I including in the portrait? But I would say on average, it takes about 2 hours to style and light a scene. And then shooting would take just a few minutes, and then editing would take another probably hour and a half to 2 hours.
So someone's asking, do you use grip equipment like flags to shape the light?
I don't actually. I guess I would say that I do bounce my lights, and we'll bounce them like off the ceiling, white ceiling. That's about it. I don't use any sort of like flags or anything. I use modifiers, soft boxes a lot. Those are typically my key lights, and then I will often for my fills just bounce off the ceiling, which works great in tight spaces. So you don't have to have like this giant modifier that you're using. But I do get creative with my lights too. Working in the home, like I will put lights outside my windows to make it look like it's nighttime with
Yeah.
like a blue gel, you know,
Yeah.
or make it look like it's morning and have some warm light streaming in through the window. So I do like to just layer my lights. It always starts super simple, key fill, and then I build from there. So key fill and then get creative after that.
And then you also have to keep it somewhat organic looking because like you have a lamp on, you want it to feel like that lamp is on,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
The thing is like you hit this line between like how much of it is believable that it's a moment and then how much of it is like so curated. Like it's, I mean, that magazine is just 45 degrees and then you can just read that one thing on that. Like there's a lot of meticulous to it.
So I don't know if it's like, that's actually hard for me. So I have been like pushing myself recently over the past year to like
Be filthier.
yes. It's honest truth. My husband, like, he will attest to that. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm almost like want him to just sometimes like go and just mess this up because it is hard for me to do that for whatever reason. Like, I'm like, everything's got to be perfect. And I don't know, I have an advertising degree, and I think part of that flows through in what I'm doing.
Totally. You can see that.
So I do try to make messes. I try to have things spill out the side the frame. You know, maybe I need to get my kids just in there before I shoot and be like, mess this up.
Man. Well, what's funny is you and me do the whole cinematic light thing. And it's funny because we both did cinematic talks at WPI this past week in Vegas. And we went like this.
Yeah, we did.
And so I'm on stage going like, no, it's got to be filthy. Let that fly how it's going to fly. Let this light cut how it's going to cut. Because that's how I've been raised to like be like, this is how you get your viewer invested because I'm not spelling it out for them.
Yeah.
They got to find it and they have to really believe that it's happening. Like, I don't want them to look at that and go, that was a softbox, that's a snoot, that's this thing is perfectly here, so I need to read that. Like, no. I want you to catch on the fourth time, the fifth time.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I actually have pulled from like Norman Rockwell and George Hughes. So those artists from like golden age of illustration, they have a lot of their paintings, they have like these hidden Easter eggs, right? So like these details that you don't notice right away, you notice like on the second or third or fourth time that you're looking at the art piece. And I love that. That's one of my favorite things. So I will often in my work include things like reflections and bowls and stuff and be very, very intentional. Like you don't notice it right away, but there's like someone's reflection in the bowl that you didn't see the first time, but it's there, you know, and on Instagram, it's like, what? It's so small. It's really hard to catch that, but I'm intentional with that. I love that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm just more like, when I feel it getting too curated, I feel disconnected from it personally. So like I just stop. When I was in my early days, I was like, no, this is my video. I'm like, no. Like if this fell off the bed, it would fall like that. No, just let it fall off the bed. Whatever hits, it hits, you know? Or the way, if light's coming through a window, then that's how it spills, man. You know, it's like if there's a weird reflection, that's how it's supposed to go, you know? But I've always been grimy as hell with my style. Even my commercial work, I've had to clean myself up to a point where like my pride is how clean I got at some points. And I'm like, forget that.
Yeah, we are so the opposite in that way. And like I am trying to learn that. Like I'm literally trying to learn.
No, it's not learning. It's letting yourself do it.
Letting go.
How often do you like it's like hard to like let yourself do it, right?
Right.
Because you control freak, you lunatic.
But I am. But you know, but I will say something happened when I hit 40, and it was like I hit 40 and I was just like done. And it is more of like a process of like letting go and like just it was a major shift in how I operated, and I think it boils down to me turning 40.
Yeah, for me, I think if you've been doing it long enough, after a while, you're kind of like, at least for me, at some point, if I'm doing something consistent, I go, all right, I've done it. I've done enough of that. Now, like, where are we going now? Because like I said in the beginning, your work, you could show me a shot you did 10 years ago. It'll look so close to what you shoot today because it's so timeless. There's nothing about it to me that doesn't scream like it's of the moment. Like it's urgency. Like that Game Boy one, that's 30 years of Game Boy. You know what I mean? Like there is some questions in the chat. Do you use strobe or LED lights?
I use strobe. And it's very rare that I'm using constant light. I typically have my aperture between f8 and f10, so very narrow, and I'm lighting really big environments in most cases. At least At least they feel big to me, but maybe they're not that huge. You know, I am working in a home in most cases. And my studio is really humble, small space. It's only like, 15 by 20. So
Bigger than this.
yeah, yeah. And so I'm using strobe for that. Again, I like that power. I like that control. I use a lot of gels too. I do love to have motivated lighting. You mentioned that earlier with like lamps and stuff. So again, working in a home environment, you're going to include like that kind of stuff, like having lamps and oven lights and whatever. So the problem is strobes are overpowering that. So I will bring in motivated lighting to kind of mimic that light.
Plus, you're working with kids. You know what I mean? So, like, if you're shooting closed down and you need constant light, you are putting like the sun in the frame. Basically,
Yeah.
you're gonna need to crank that light up. I don't think those kids are gonna sit too well. Plus, you can use if I'm guessing, sometimes you have to hide your strobes in that frame a little bit. So, like something like an A2 being this big, you can put behind a bookshelf. You know?
Yeah, yeah. The Profoto A2s are like my most used lights, and they're the size of a soda can, tiny. And I use those the most. I have B30s. I love my B30s. I usually use those for fill. But in most cases, yeah, those lights are hiding just outside the frame. Sometimes they are in the frame, and I edit them out.
Oh, okay.
You know,
you shoot a plate.
Yeah. So, well, sometimes. What do you mean by plate?
So you shoot the scene blank, so you always have it as a baseline.
Yes. So I do that. Sometimes though, it's just like a corner of the softbox, like showing.
Oh, that's nothing.
You know. But when I'm working against like a wall that has wallpaper, that would be a perfect example where I would do that.
Yeah, and when you do in your wallpaper shots, like there's no warping, right? Like the keystoning is perfect. It's like, man, I always picture you like with like a level, like staring at a bubble level on a tripod or something. Like, you must be nuts about this.
Yeah, I am, and I do get the question sometimes, like, do I, tether when I'm shooting? And I don't, but I feel like I'm starting to need to do that. Like, there was years where I wasn't doing that because I don't know. Can you imagine trying to tether like inside the home with 5 kids, toddlers, and like 250-pound dogs, and we got a cat as well who's super curious. I mean, that would just be total chaos. That laptop would be on the floor in like seconds. So I've never tethered, honestly, because of that reason. But now that they're getting older, and I feel like I'm starting to work in bigger environments and bigger scenes, that I feel like I need that, to see my.
It's also gotten easier to tether. Like, you could literally do it to an iPad now. Like, it doesn't have to be a computer. You're also talking to a guy that dropped a laptop in front of 600 people at Imagen before I even started my class. So I feel you, but gear, it's just gear. No. So it didn't break. I didn't freak out, and I made them applaud for it because I'm like, this is a really well-built MacBook, you know? But I always look at it like, freaking out never solved anything. So in my head, where do I go from here? If it broke, what do I do next? And then, you're fine. What I wanted to ask you was like, has any of this work sprung off into someone hitting you up for commercial work? Like, I could see like a greeting card company or something. Like, could you do a series of like mischievous kids or something?
That would be fun. No, it has led to other things. Like, I actually work with a toy shop out of Pennsylvania that heirloom toys. I've worked with them for years, and they're amazing. Like, absolutely amazing. And it's just a small shop, but huge and well known. And
it's a legacy shop.
And I love toys. Like, I think I love to get these toys more than my kids do. Like, I get so excited. But the owner, she's become a good friend, and it's funny. Like, there were times where she would send me stuff without me knowing, and I would come home and there would be these giant life-sized animals on my porch, like a giant moose and like pig and bear, and like all just lined up on my porch for me to shoot and photograph. So
that's awesome.
That's why I have like a barn now, because we had to build a barn because I have all this stuff, like all these toys and everything.
It's a barn with like fake animals in it.
It's so weird. When you walk through there, you're like, what is going on? It's weird, but it's awesome. Like, we've got some really cool things. And,
RMZ Films wants to thank us both for our WPI Lighting Summit. Thank you for coming to it. Appreciate you being it. We can't do these unless you guys are in those seats. You know that, right? Like this. She's going to need you guys here at 5 p.m. Eastern and in this chat room at 5 p.m. if you can't fly to New York in the next couple hours. So RC's asking, are you teaching a class at Adorama? Yeah, you're doing it tonight.
Yeah,
what is your topic?
5 to 6. So I'm going to be playing with some strobe. We're going to be talking a lot about light and color, because that's what my work like centers around. So light and color focused, and playing with gels. It'll be for an hour, and we've got some fun things planned. And I brought some props with me, what I could. It's going to be 90s themed too. So
There's $1 million stores in New York. You're gonna got you all the props you want. Trust me.
I know. I thought about that. I'm not used to that. I'm used to like living in a remote area, so like having to order everything online and bring things with me. Not thinking like I'm in an area and in a city where like everything is at my disposal. But
Yeah, I'll tell you, a Brooklyn dollar store, like on being bored, you walk through there, you walk out going with 50 things you're going to shoot. You're like, I could use this for this. Like,
Yeah.
I found a snow machine in the dollar store. Me and
Really?
Dan, yeah. So is that, Daniel knows this story because I was like, there's a snow machine here. I'm totally buying it. He's like, what are you going to do with it? I don't know. I'm going to take it to the studio.
Yeah, you need that.
Turns out all it does is make a lot of noise and shove soap foam everywhere. And we have a concrete floor. And it's white with white soap everywhere. Guess who could not make it to the door after I turned that thing
Who?
on? I couldn't get I could not walk in that studio. I'm like on my knees, like trying to slide to the door to get out of there alive. But long story short, you can get literally anything.
do you remember? What was it? Maybe it was like the early 2000s. There used to be foam parties.
Oh,
Are
yeah.
there still is? I don't know if there's, but that's what it reminds me of.
And I'd see these kids on the train with like, they would be like pink and orange foam that was like, it was like dyed or whatever. It's like drying on them.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh, and their hair looks like it's going to crack in half or whatever. You know what? The one thing that I do like about you is there's a lot of photographers that put out work that is a lot of post edit, but they won't shoot live because of that. You are like, no, I'm going to show you what I'm going after
Yeah.
right in camera. That's very commendable. Is there any time you're doing a demo that you're like, I wish I could just get in there and rip this apart in editing?
No, honestly, I don't feel like I've ever had that kind of moment. I always love to show like my straight out of camera shots. I do that like in my workshops as well, show what I've started with. I do like to do as much as I possibly can in camera. So I do like to get my lighting right. I will spend a ton of time on my lighting to get it to where I want it to be, because I don't like to add in things of that nature like in post. So, alter the lighting too much. So a lot of it's done in camera as much as I can, but I feel like the editing portion is, it's one of my favorite parts. Like I really enjoy like bringing an image to life. I feel like I'm painting. That's what I feel
Yeah,
like.
I get that vibe from you. I could feel like you're zenned out with a giant mug of something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Green tea, coffee, multiple times a day, so I work at like my house. I have the house to myself during the day, and it's all nice and quiet, and I'm like able to just kind of focus on my editing, and I love that. So yeah.
Sorry guys, I'm seeing a lot of choppy buffering. I'm going to try to fix it right now. So if you've been having trouble with this stream, I apologize. Something happened last night and I've been chasing it ever since, and I'm doing this while I'm live. Is there something else you've been wanting to shoot besides just what's, and when I say arm's length, I mean your kids and yourself. Is there like, are you looking to apply this to celebrities, or is there anything else out there besides your subjects that you're looking to chase a little bit?
Not really. Okay, so for the past, I would say up until I turned 40, like I was always like thinking about like, what am I going to do like in the future? Like what will this eventually lead to? Or, maybe I need to transition into something else. And I just sort of like let go of that. Like, I'm like, well, I'm just going to kind of like live in the moment and then, see where that takes me. I have dabbled in all sorts of like different types of genres of photography. So I have dabbled in astrophotography. I did a lot of macro. I've done some landscape as well, and loved it all. Like, and really enjoyed it. And I do live in an area where it's a beautiful area, landscape photography and astrophotography too. We have true dark skies where we live.
Oh yeah, no light pollution, right?
Oh yeah, and we see the northern lights like constantly. Like every year, I can see them right in my yard. So and I can just go to Lake Superior, which is 30 minutes away, and then sit on the beach and then photograph them. And I have done that, and I love it. But I don't know. I don't know if like in the future maybe I'll transition to something else. I've also done food photography.
That I could see, very, very particular.
Yeah, and I love flat lays, and we do have a lot of breweries around us and like a lot of good restaurants and food, and I'm like, man, maybe I could start doing something along those lines a little more. But for now, I'm sort of just like loving the portraiture aspect, and I I don't know where else it would take me at this time, but yeah.
I feel like with the work you do with the pediatric cancer families like that, like there's
yeah.
probably like another layer to that as well. Like I feel like First of all, that's very amazing that you offer that to these fans. But like, what is that project, and what is actually happening with that project?
Okay, yeah. So the project's called the Gold Hope Project, and it started from a good friend of mine whose daughter passed away from cancer, and she created this nonprofit that gifts pediatric cancer patients a free photo session. So there's volunteers all over the U.S. and all over the world that volunteer their time to photograph these kids. So when a family has to reach out to the nonprofit, and when they reach out to the nonprofit, they're assigned a photographer, and we go and we photograph them. And it is personal to me too, because I have a son who has had leukemia twice. So my oldest son got diagnosed with leukemia when he was 4,
Wow.
and then again when he was 12. My husband was deployed at the time, so it was like a lot, to juggle with him not being there at first. He came home, so it was just a lot. So in itself, it's personal, right? Because I've gone through, that, and I've had a son, that's had like 5 years of treatment, basically, because it's a long process with leukemia. So it is really amazing, this nonprofit, because, you go in and you gift a family these photos of their child. And sometimes it's the whole family gets in the shots and stuff, but you gift them a free photo session, which of course means a lot. It can be hard too, of course, because these kids, some of them aren't, doing well. And, but I feel like, one of the things that I'm fortunate, to have is that I've gone through it, so I'm connected to those families, maybe in a different way than others, just because it's like you understand a little bit of what they're going through. So
Yeah, I can't imagine approaching a family like that, and then you'd be able to share and connect. I'm sure it puts a comfort level, and then there's like a therapeutic level, and then there's probably I can only imagine what you're going to do later on when these kids are grown and gotten through some things, and you're like, well, let's do another round and shoot something.
Yeah.
I feel like it's too deep not to keep going back to it.
Yeah. It is, and it's when my son was first diagnosed, you just you like treasure all like those moments, like every little thing, because you don't know like what the future holds. So being able to have those like photographs is everything. So yeah, there's volunteers all over, and for me, I live in more of a remote area, so I don't, photograph these kids as much as someone who maybe isn't in like an area that, like New York City.
Yeah.
But I have traveled pretty far, like Wisconsin, Minnesota, even, to just photograph kids, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So yeah.
Guys, I'm sorry. I'm having a bunch of technical issues right now. I got red stuff flying everywhere. If this is choppy for you, I apologize. There will be a recording of this that will be clean. So if maybe we'll look into posting the that's not your photo. Maybe we'll look into posting the recorded version of this later. I'm sorry about that, guys. I don't know what's going on. Like, this is technology.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Bring me back to film and records. What are we doing here? What is all this live streaming stuff? Is there something I feel like we're in that time of year where we go like do all the classes and stuff, so your brain's not there.
Yeah.
But is there a project you're going to chase later? Is there something that's going on this year that you're looking to get into, or is it still more like bothering your kids?
No, I am actually going to be starting a whole bunch of stuff. So a podcast.
Oh.
I'm about to start a podcast, which is,
I know nothing about that.
oh, okay. And then, but and then also I'm going to launch some classes, some workshops later this year as well. So that's what I have at the moment.
Man.
But yeah, education.
I feel like you can apply what you're doing to like literally anything. Like you could, I feel like musician, like some kind of like young Gen Z musician would want to do your style for their next like artwork, for their next like albums thing, whatever, something like that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. What is it with, I apparently like Gen Z doesn't like the millennials. This is something that I heard, but they're like into the 90s.
That's every generation. They
yeah,
hate the people, but they want it, but they
I
missed
just
out on
learned this.
they're using the point and shoot cameras. They want to live how like that people lived, but they don't like the people themselves because they don't connect. But it's like you're trying to be what happened. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
But, and you know, we're all, I think everybody's just trying to create their own thing, but everyone, it's like AI, right? They reference something and build it from there.
Yeah.
Speaking of AI, I mean, I feel like your work, you probably could generate a bunch of stuff and probably produce it different, but I don't think you'd be happy with it by the time you're done with it.
Yeah. So I don't want to say that I get accused of AI a lot because I don't feel like I do, but whenever I post on Threads,
Oh God,
Threads is like a nightmare, right?
What a rage site.
Yeah. So I don't post there often, but I occasionally get accused of AI, which always blows my mind because I feel like I do share my process. I'm like open with my process, and I don't want to say that I don't use AI because I do. Okay, in Photoshop, I might use generative fill to remove something, but that's about the extent of it. And, you know, I have friends that will use not generative AI, but they'll use AI to like create a background or whatever, then merge their image with it, which I think is awesome. I don't do that. I do everything just about as much as possible, you know, by hand. I feel like that's part of what I love. Like, I feel like if that were to be taken away, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. Right. So I love to, again, style my scene, set these things up. And so I'm not really using AI unless it's to like remove something or.
You mean make it easier than something you would have done by hand?
Yeah.
So it's a tool.
Yeah. So instead of using the clone tool or the spot healing tool, maybe I use generative AI, fill or something like that to fix something or remove something. So that's about the extent of it.
My problem with AI is like when we're going to have Mark Mann on here next week, and he's he's a celebrity photographer and he's amazing, but he keeps on shoving AI in my face. And I'm like, right, Mark, but why am I looking at this? If she's not real, that this never happened, then like, why am I looking at it?
Yeah.
I don't care how cool it looks or how clean it looks or how realistic it looks. Why am I looking at it? You know?
Yeah. It's interesting because I feel like, okay, so, AI, when did it come about? Was it like a couple years ago? Even
like we're going on our third year.
Okay. It was huge, right? But now we're starting to see like this, I feel like this transition where, when like several years ago, film photography kind of really came back, right? And it was like this sort of thing that was just, amazing to see. And I feel like we're kind of seeing that too in like the photography industry with, and art in general. So AI came out as this big thing, but now it is like, this sort of luxury or whatever, when you see these photographers actually creating everything by hand. It's an art form. Like, and you take that away. Like when AI just completely takes that away. The work is the fun part, like the styling is the fun part. The editing to me is like the fun part.
I don't think people understand the whole thing of like, you're connecting to someone without even knowing who they are, kind of a thing. Like, I'm not going to care what AI thought a human thought they would want us to see that they thought they should create. Like, it's fake. Like, it's just not, I just don't care about it. And if I can't care about it, why do I look at it? Then why do I waste my life, And
I think there's an important thing there too, is like when I'm photographing these scenes, I'm including a lot of things that mean something to my family. So like family heirlooms and stuff like that. You take that away when you're doing stuff with like AI, when they're just like generating something. Like I'm including like my great grandpa's radio in the shot and like these pieces.
Yeah, but they have to care to know that.
Yeah.
Right. So if they just see an old time radio in the shot, they don't go, cool, AI made a radio. They don't know that it was, right.
Yeah, but I do. And so like this image means something to me because like I'm creating it for myself. Like I'm creating this like portrait because it's centered around something that happened, right? And I'm including things that mean a lot to me. And people might not know that when they see that, but like at the heart of it, like that's what I care about. Like I know that, and that's what means the most. Maybe that's cliche, maybe that's corny, whatever, but like that's what's important to me.
No, and if I always tell people like the work starts with you. If you don't, you have to care the most because the next person will not care as much, and it gets diluted.
Yeah.
So like if you're not all in, you can't expect the viewer to invest themselves, and then you can't expect to build an audience.
Yeah,
that's how I always thought about it, and I always tell you guys like every decision in that frame is like a word in a sentence. It's got to be coherent. If it's not doing that, what are we doing?
Yeah,
I can't ask anyone of their time, their finite time on this earth, to look at some junk. I just don't get it. But that trade show, everything was AI doom and gloom.
Mm-hmm.
How do we work with AI? This thing's taking our data to do the thing it's doing. There was 600 software companies that were all AI. Like, I'm just like, man.
You know, it's such a it's such a hard thing for me too, because I kind of stay out of that. Like I really have not ever like involved myself in AI. I've never tried like, you know, Midjourney or whatever. I don't know. I've never tried any of those programs. And so I'm kind of like outside that community. But there's a part of me that's hearing constantly, you need to like educate yourself with this. You need to like know what's happening because it's the future, right? And I just don't. And I just kind of, again, it goes back to, for me, like the part of photography that I love is all centered around creating something with my hands, like styling and coming up with a concept, all of that. And when that's taken away, it's no longer like something that I have interest in doing.
Have you done any other types? Like, have you done like any kind of like event photography or like more like press run and gun type stuff? Like, you seem so like.
I don't think I could. I don't think I could. Okay, so I did dabble in like wedding photography at one point in my career when I first launched my business. I think I shot 12 weddings and realized real quickly that this isn't for me. Like, this was way too, because you have to think like fast, right? And that's not how typically I work. Like, I like to be, everything to be kind of slow and like, think through my process, and take my time. So yeah,
They can't
that
hear
guy
that.
right there.
Yeah. Oh, look, he's going to look at that. His friend's filming and he's going to do a burnout. Great.
Oh, yeah.
Out of everywhere in New York, this is where we're going to do this. You guys can't hear this. We're looking at a window in the front of that. Oh, come on.
Influencers?
Could this stream not kick me in the teeth any harder? Look at this.
Is this what you have to deal with a lot?
Dude, well,
constantly?
so I'm a believer of live streams have to be filthy. I mean, why are you watching live if it's going to be clean and perfect and everything
That's
like that?
true. That's true.
But like, there's times, I'm not going to lie to you, I wish I just had a bat and I just start swinging. I mean, people just screaming in the store. I got Eric from Profoto. Is that Patrick? Is that Sarah? I'm live right now. Half of Profoto is here from Sweden, guys.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, calm it down, sir. Okay. And I got the stream falling apart all of a sudden. Now it's back. So I hope you guys, I hope this evened out for you guys. I'm so sorry about that. Like, I don't know what's going on with YouTube. It's been volatile for 2 days. And welcome to my psychosis. Welcome to the breakdown. You will not, one day I will just walk the earth. You won't even get a goodbye letter. I will just, I'm just going to sand off my tattoos, change my name and walk, just walk the earth.
It's all good.
Oh my God.
No.
Are you going to, what I want to see happen is when one of your kids finally goes, you know what, now I'm going to start doing this. And then I want to watch the collision of them trying to do it. And you going like, no, it should go like this and then do this.
That would be, out of all my kids, would be my daughter. She's like the most fierce, like, and she's confident, which I love. She's fierce, she's confident, she's intense. Again, going back to astrology, she's a Scorpio, so they're like, but I love everything like about that. Like I want to like foster that, especially being a girl. Like, you need that like confidence from like a young age. So I do love that. But she would be the one, I feel like, out of all my kids, maybe my youngest son too. But yeah,
Maybe they'll work together and do something ridiculous. That'd be
yeah,
cool.
yeah. I think what needs to happen is maybe have them like completely direct a shoot and have them like.
You should do that.
Yeah.
You just do it, but they control like every decision. You should totally do that.
Yeah. Have them tell me what to do.
That'd be amazing.
Yep.
Do the Inside Out series. Let them do it.
And record the whole behind the scenes.
Why are you not doing this?
That's also going to happen when I go home. So I'm going to be doing that too, on top of the other 90s portrait.
You're busy gallivanting around New York. What are you doing? You got. I do think that there's something about what you're doing that could be some sort of like printed media. I don't know if you do print, but like I could totally see you making this into some sort of, and I don't mean to demean it, but like some sort of like greeting card series or a card type series. Like something about it is card stocky to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel that.
Well, no, sometimes I do feel that. And sometimes when I create things, I'm like, this looks like an ad. Like this.
Well, now that you said the ad thing, I can't stop seeing it now.
Like, but so I think that it like subconsciously flows into my work because, I 5 years in college, like majoring in that, and advertising and PR. So I think, yeah, that definitely flows into my work. And I love that idea. And I have thought about something along those lines. So yeah, maybe one day.
I'm interested. I think you could like make a deal with Hannah because they sell those like tin card sets or whatever.
That'd be sweet.
The Meg Loeks edition. So instead of a book, people have like their tin signed by Meg Loeks, you know?
Yeah.
Loeks. I can't believe her name. I'm pronouncing your name wrong for like 10 years.
Most people do. It's fine.
Yeah, but you can't let it's your name, man. You know, you gotta throw it down. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm glad the stream is doing better. Let me know if you're getting 4K resolution streaming, by the way, because I just ripped all my data apart while we're talking, which is extremely hard to do. I'll be honest with you. You're like talking about kids with cancer. I'm like, bit data rates.
No, well,
I'm sorry about that, guys. Oracle cards. What is that?
I don't know either.
What, Jennifer? Are you going to be here later, Jennifer? She's an OG. She'll probably be sitting in that chair right there.
Oracle cards. I feel like I'm going to have to like look that up here.
What scene do you think you're going to get into later today? Because you told me you brought blinds and stuff, so I'm curious what we're going to get into.
Okay, so we're going to start out simple with gels and everything, but then I'm going to set up these blinds. I have a portrait that I recently did where it's just cheap $12 blinds, and I'm peeking through the blinds. So we're going to do something similar to that. The blinds are white, so I'm going to change the color of the blinds with gels and photograph the model like through the blinds, like peeking out. She'll have some 90s like props. Like,
man, you're all in that 90s mode.
I am. Like, wow. It's like, I feel like every year I pick some sort of like theme, and then I really stick to that theme all year. And so apparently this year it's 90s.
I don't know if it's a theme. I think you probably get so into an idea, it's not done yet. One frame will never get it done, you know?
Yeah, and then I love it for a while, but then I get like bored with it after a while, and then I'm like, okay, so on to like the next thing. Okay, I think because I've like exhausted it, so I'm like, I've thought of all the ideas that I can think of, so let's move on. And I'm the 90s thing, I still have some more ideas that I'm going to do, but then I don't know what's next after that. But yeah, so we're going to have fun with some just minimal props. So I'm going to show you there's a lot you can do with like minimal items. You know, because again, it's what is the title of it? It's like a small
space. Big idea, small space, something like that.
Yeah.
Big concept, small space.
That's exactly it.
That'll be on the event channel. By the way, guys, if you don't know, this QR code will take you to that channel. Hit subscribe now, hit the bell now. So when Meg goes live, you can watch her shoot live. Yeah. You know, she'll be driving somebody crazy, I'm sure.
Yeah.
No, you are very like, it's funny. You do so much, but you're so polite and quiet and easy about it. And I'm like yelling and.
It's the Midwest nice.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the Midwest nice? Like, it's like, it is always a little bit of like a culture shock when I'm coming to New York because everybody's yelling, they're honking, they're swearing, you know, they're all the things. And you don't see that in.
You know, but we get a bad rap. We're not mean.
No.
We just have no time for we have no time for you. Okay. Like, but if there's a woman that's trying to get a baby carriage up a flight of stairs, no one even says a word. Yeah. They all grab a wheel and they get it up those stairs for her. And they just don't say another word.
Oh, yeah.
We don't got to say thanks. Got to say nothing. We move on. I got to get to work. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like,
and it can be exhausting. Like, okay, perfect examples. Like if you're in the Midwest and like you're at a stop sign, a 4-way stop, right? Nobody wants to go. And it would drive you crazy because everybody's like, no, you go. And that, you know, that can be, you would never experience that here probably.
When I was on tour for like the magazines a million years ago, I would just be like, I'm fine. Great. I'm glad your day's going well. Cool. I'm just ordering coffee. Like I just need to get this in the cup. Yeah. And then that's like 5 people deep as the line. That's like 15 minutes of dumb small talk no one cares about. Mm-hmm. Like at what point is polite just not helping anyone?
Yeah. I hear you on that. Like I don't know. I'm one of those people that tends to be like, what is it? An introverted extrovert, like, or the other way around maybe. I don't know. So like that kind of stuff, like in line, you know, having to make the small talk is not my cup of tea. Like I you know, I just, it is hard for me, but I don't know. My husband thinks it's pretty funny, but I'm like, it's my worst nightmare sometimes. But.
Yeah, but you're also always shooting your kids, so you don't have to even start with that like weird small talk with a client. Like, hey, so we just met. So blah, blah. Like, you don't even do that whole song and dance.
I think photographing your kids is like so much harder than like photographing a client too, because they're used to you. They're gonna tell you how it is, and I do have to get like super creative with my kids, like especially my youngest, who's a toddler still, kind of like fading out of that toddler era. But like I have to get really creative in order to even photograph him, you know, because he won't put up with it. Like, so again, keeping him moving. It's all about like the art of play with his age, making it play. Otherwise, he's not having it.
Yeah. Well, they also have a super comfort level with you, right? They can get away with things with you,
true.
right?
That's true. Yeah. Absolutely.
Before we built this space, the last demo I did before we streamed, I photographed my own mom. And I was like, that was a way different version of me than anybody would have seen me shoot anything. And I also had no idea how to light my mom. Like, how do I light my mom? I've seen her a million ways, you know, but I want her, I didn't want to over glamorize her. I wanted to be like, I put all those wrinkles on your face. I'm going to get every single one of them.
All those smile wrinkles. Yep.
I heard Bubby 4,000 times in that day alone. I hate when people try to alter someone they're close to when they're doing a portrait, when you really want that to portray the person. And the closer you are to someone, the harder it is to nail down what you've seen for so long. Yeah. It's really weird. It's a weird concept. Like the closer you are, the harder it is to actually get into the mode for it. So your kids are constantly growing, changing. Their faces are changing. Their demeanor's changing. Who they are as people is evolving. Like you must be chasing that every time you start up again.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It has really changed, and it's so funny because too, as they get older, like now they're some of my older kids. If I have them help with a shoot or whatever, I'm paying them, and they get more expensive as they get older, like more and more expensive, you know. But yeah, I mean, it is. If I have them, they'll help. Sometimes they just like hold in like a light stand so that it doesn't fly away like Mary Poppins, you know, outside. But so they're getting more and more expensive. But yeah, I think it's important to like.
Do you haggle them?
No. But like
that would be amazing.
No, yeah. But they, you know, they're some of my kids are like super like just awesome and like patient and like with all of this. And then I've got some that are like very vocal and like, you know, we will go head to head with each other. Like my daughter and I do that. She's a lot, I think, sometimes like me in some ways. So it's been interesting, like, you know, photographing them over the years and like seeing them, their personalities develop and everything. It's just awesome.
That is pretty well. I mean, I might have kids. I don't know, but like it's got to be weird to see like parts of yourself all over the place, and then you're photographing it plus yourself. Like you're doing an Inception thing. I don't think you realize you're doing. Yeah,
no, it is, and you know, like it's so weird though too. The like also, I used to photograph them like every day, and now like recently I realized like I hadn't photographed my daughter who. I used to photograph again, like every single day in a month. I hadn't even photographed her, put her in front of the camera in a month. And I was like, oh my gosh, like things have like, they've changed so much. But again, like as they've gotten older, like I just love spending time in front of the camera myself, like, you know, and having that time with my camera. It is like self-care. It is so therapeutic. It's like gardening to me, or like going on a hike or whatever. Like that's, I know some people are like, oh, self-care, going to get a massage or whatever, but I don't view that. I mean, that is self-care, but like I view like time with my camera as self-care.
Plus you have results that last forever.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, how cool is that? Like those photos will be forever. And those kids will be like showing their like spouse one day. Like, this is what I was like at 4 years old on a rocking horse. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's cool, man. Listen, guys, I'm going to call it there, but if you guys want, one, follow her. Yes, hit follow, yes. But also make sure you subscribe to this channel because Meg will be live in a few hours. I'm going to work on this setup. That's not yours either. I'm going to work on this. I'm going to work on the setup to make sure that the stream goes smooth for 5 p.m. I'm sorry about that, guys. I'll take a look at the stream. Maybe we'll re-upload this as the recorded version. I cannot tell you how much stuff befell in this space in the one. This is what she brings. This is the energy she brings.
Yeah, apparently.
If you guys are coming to New York, 42 West 18th Street, that's what this store is here for. Make sure you check out all the links down below. Don't forget to subscribe on this channel. And if you were into this, there are literally 80 other episodes of this, 80 other episodes, and people I think you should know with conversations that are similar to this one. So there's a whole playlist you can play. Meg, I will clean this place up and get it ready for you for 5 o'clock.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Cool. Later, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week. All right. I'll see you at 5. What am I talking about? I'll see you at 5. You better be there at 5.
5 o'clock.